that have died in Gaza. And Peres says, he says, you know, when you look at it, it is only the Palestinian children who have been killed. There are no Israeli children who are killed. We look after our children. That's what he said. And I felt like saying to him, if he'd have been here, I would smack him in the mouth, you know. I would. I say that as someone who has been marching for peace, and on a personal level, I have never hit anyone in my life, you know. But this is going too far, and I felt like saying, Shimon Peres, you say this. Would anyone have said that the German Jews didn't look after their children in the 1930s? No. The killing of the children in Gaza is a result of the barbarous war on terror. And George Bush is gone now, but the last war that he encouraged was this war of the Israeli army and the Israeli government on the Palestinian people in Gaza. It's the same war, the war on terror, that sent troops to Afghanistan, American and British troops. And that was the whole first sweep in which Moazzam Begg was arrested. It's the same war on terror that put an army invading and occupying Iraq for 6 years now and over 1 million people killed. And our government minister says that it was a mistake. The war on terror, Iraq, Afghanistan, there's the Lebanon, Somalia, Georgia, and those wars now have led to this last horrible war, the war against the Gazan people and the Palestinians. I see that Moazzam and the others are here. I don't want to speak, but we're all here to hear them. But from the Stop the War movement, we're very pleased and honoured to be here in our numbers and joining many others. Stop the War is made up of a coalition, the Muslim Association of Britain, the CND, the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, and all the anti-war peace groups and the trade unions, all in a big coalition, and we hope to continue with our work. But I must now pass over to our speakers who we're all here to listen to. So, from the Stop the War in Manchester, we welcome Moazzam, Sami and Chris. And I think that Ron has got just a little presentation he would like to make to the brothers here tonight. Thank you.
Mark. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wal aqibatu lil muttaqin wa la udwana illa ala al-zalimin. Allahu akbar kabira walhamdulillahi kathira wa subhanallahi bukratan wa asila wa sallallahu ala imam al-anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. ثم أما بعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We begin in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, and we send our salam and salutations upon the final messenger, peace and blessings of God be upon him. I would like to welcome you all to tonight's event. I ask God for his blessings to bless this event. Welcome to tonight's event, which is brought to you tonight by MMU Islamic Society in collaboration with Cageprisoners. For those who don't know, Cageprisoners have an organization which has been based for a number of years. They have been campaigning against the unlawful detention of the fellow brothers and sisters who are held illegally without charge. I repeat again, illegally without charge. It is a human rights organization whose sole aim is to relieve those who have been tortured and driven to the edges of insanity for those who have, of course they have valid reasons. Today we have two of those who served inside the wires and we have one who served outside the wires. On behalf of the Islamic Society of MMU, we would like to thank Cageprisoners for the national work that they are doing. And also a great thank you to the Northwest Sister Representative in charge, Sister Shazana. We would also like to thank Manchester Evening News for covering this event this evening. Before we invite the speakers, we have amongst us Stop the War Coalition. As we know, Stop the War Coalition is a fantastic organization which is active and they make a difference. And we have heard Mark before. I'm going to now call Mark again, which will be followed by Ron, or vice versa. So we call on Stop the War Coalition.
Brothers and sisters, friends, comrades, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you, and there's another greeting too. Freedom for Palestine. That's going to be our lips on every conversation that we have, every time we say hello, and every time we say goodbye. Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. Now, I'm really here today to make a little presentation to the speakers. It's a special honor for me too, particularly today. I was in the United States Navy when I was 17 years old in 1965, a long time ago. By the time I was 18, I was opposed to the policies of the American government, and I was active inside the Navy in the anti-Vietnam War demonstrations, and active in the American Civil Rights Movement in Newark, New Jersey, and New York City. And I've been active since that time. And it's a great pleasure and an honor to welcome Chris, along with Moazzam, Begg, and Sammy here today. It's a real show of humanity, and that they've not been able to crush the humanity and people. The thing that links us around the world together is our humanity. And we've seen it in the demonstrations that have taken place everywhere, not only supporting the Palestinians, but against the war in Iraq and the continuing war in Afghanistan. So the presentation that we've got here today is a poster that we had the demonstration in Manchester. I'm sure many of you were on that demonstration. 50,000 people were here against the Labour Party conference in Manchester. It was just one of the many demonstrations that we've had. One of the many demonstrations, like I said, that are around the world. And I would just like to present this to the honourable speakers here who've come today, that Manchester is a city of struggle, and Manchester is a city that's going to stay in struggle until Palestine is free, until we have a more just society.
Thank you very much for that, Mark and Ron, for the fantastic presentation. Hopefully we can join Stop the War Coalition so we can join in the struggle and the efforts of having justice around the world. Brothers and sisters, unfortunately, Sami Al-Hajj was not able to make it this evening because there was some difficulty in getting a visa. However, we have another ex-detainee called Brother Omar who is with us today. So inshallah we will be listening to the brother. Without any further ado, I will give a small little reminder about our brother Moazzam Begg. So we have a brief history about him. Then without any further ado, we will call him on as a former Guantanamo Bay detainee and spokesman for the prisoner human rights organization, Cageprisoners. Moazzam appears extensively both in the media and in the UK, lecturing on issues around torture, anti-terror legislation, and community relations. He has authored several pieces that have appeared in national and international newspapers, and a book detailing life as a Muslim living in the UK and his further experience in Guantanamo Bay. Enemy Combat is the first book to be published by a Guantanamo Bay prisoner. Without any further ado, we'd like to invite and welcome Moazzam Begg.